Imagine if every successful person received exactly one rejection in their entire life. One rejected job application, one rejected business idea, one rejected manuscript, one rejected relationship, then immediately succeeded forever after. That would be nice. Unfortunately, reality has a different business model. Because rejection isn't a rare event. It's one of the most common experiences on Earth. And yet most people treat rejection like a final verdict, as if a single no somehow reveals the truth about who they are. It doesn't. Most of the time, it reveals almost nothing. Let's imagine you apply for a job. You get rejected. Your brain immediately begins its favorite hobby, making things up. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not talented enough. Maybe everyone else is better than me. Maybe I should just give up. Notice something strange. The rejection itself only provided one piece of information. No. Everything else came from your imagination. Your brain received a single fact and responded by producing an entire documentary. Humans are surprisingly good at this. Someone doesn't reply to your message for 6 hours, and suddenly your brain becomes an award-winning screenwriter. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they're avoiding me. Maybe I said something weird. Maybe our friendship is over. Meanwhile, they're just asleep, or busy, or trying to remember their password for the 5th time this week. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming rejection is personal. Sometimes it is. Most of the time it isn't. A company rejects thousands of applicants. A publisher rejects hundreds of books. A university rejects thousands of students. A customer ignores hundreds of advertisements every day. The rejection wasn't about you. You just happened to be one item in a very large pile. Consider this. The first Harry Potter book was rejected multiple times before publication. The book eventually became one of the best-selling series in history. Did the manuscript suddenly become good overnight? No. The people evaluating it changed. That's an important lesson. Rejection often says as much about the environment as it does about the thing being evaluated. This doesn't mean every rejection is meaningless. Sometimes rejection contains useful information. Maybe your skills need improvement. Maybe your presentation needs work. Maybe your timing was terrible. But that's good news. Because information can be used. A verdict cannot. And many people confuse the two. Here's a useful question. When you get rejected, ask, is this a judgment? Or is this feedback? Because feedback can help you improve. Judgments tend to keep people stuck. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Many people avoid situations where rejection is possible. They avoid applying. They avoid asking. They avoid creating. They avoid trying. Which sounds safe. Until you realize they've essentially accepted rejection in advance. Imagine refusing to buy a lottery ticket because you're afraid of losing. Congratulations. You achieved the exact same outcome. The strange thing about rejection is that it gets easier. Not because rejection changes. Because you change. The first rejection feels enormous. The 10th feels manageable. The 100th feels normal. Eventually, rejection becomes what it always was. Information, not identity. Researchers have found that people often overestimate how long negative experiences will affect them. Psychologists sometimes call this the impact bias. We think rejection will ruin our week. Then 3 days later, we're arguing about something completely unrelated, usually with someone on the internet. If you want to get better at handling rejection, stop measuring success by outcomes. Measure it by attempts. Did you apply? Good. Did you ask? Good. Did you create something and share it? Good. Because outcomes are partially outside your control. Attempts aren't. A useful book on this idea is The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Its core message is simple. The thing blocking your path often becomes the path itself. Another excellent book is Mindset by Dweck, which explains why people who view failure as information tend to improve faster than people who view failure as identity. And if you're interested in the psychology behind decision-making and mistakes, Thinking Fast and Slow by Kahneman is worth reading. Here's the reality. Every meaningful goal comes with rejection attached. Relationships, jobs, business, creativity, learning, everything. The question isn't whether you'll hear no. You will. The question is what you'll do afterward. Because rejection isn't a wall. It's a filter. It separates the people who stop from the people who keep going. And the people who keep going eventually discover something important. A rejection is rarely the end of a story. Most of the time, it's just a page. And pages are supposed to be turned.